Hello to my online learners. Welcome. We're getting towards the end, so it is time for assignment 2. Now, I've loaded it on Blackboard, but I want to go through with some details and a little more, even some examples. So this way you get an idea of what it is. So let's look. With assignment 2, I have loaded a printable link and also the rubric link. Pay attention to the rubric, because that's how you get your mark. I'm looking for a visual component that you interact with. I want an auditory component. It's recorded. I'm looking for good content at tissue level, at organ system level. And then again, I'm looking for APA and for citing, in-text citing. Now, in-text citing, anytime you list any information or an image, you can in-text cite it there, and that's a good way to get at least 3 references. Okay, what I want is 10% overall. It is a video. So you're going to record a video of your favorite organ. Now realize it's favorite in quote because it's your favorite organ. There's no right or wrong answer here. It's all in the way you defend it. And it can be a medium of your choice. You can do a puppet show, a song, a narrative. You can do a PowerPoint that you talk over, but it must have visuals that are relevant to the topic, and it must have some sort of auditory component, and you must be in it in your own way, preferably your voice, okay? What I want you to do is choose any organ you want that you want to do your favorite. Now, I mean favorite in the fact that, if you were going to nominate it or vote for it, I want you to show me that it's your favorite. Now, you must support why you think it is the best organ. And if you look here underneath the instructions, I am looking for why you think it's the best organ, which is a very good thing to do in your introduction or your conclusion. Then I want you to break it down in terms of your organ has tissues that are working together. And I want you to talk about the tissue levels. Don't just mention a bunch of parts. I want you to talk about this tissue level, which is good at doing this. This tissue level is doing this. Remember, the definition of a tissue is groups of cells working together. And then we're also focusing on your organ, which is groups of tissues working together. So I want you to discuss at a tissue level. Then I want you to talk about your organ inside the organ system it is. And an organ is a group of tissues that work together. And then as organs work together, you have an organ system. And there's the 11 organ systems, There's the integumentary, there's the digestive, reproductive, cardiac, something like that, okay? Then you also need to talk about how your organ affects other organ systems. And this is at the level of this course. So again, please do not just tell me the parts. Tell me what does it do. And at the level of this course, that's important. I don't want you to just say the heart pumps blood to the lungs. Because you know what? Most people at about grade 5 know that. We're looking at this level. So tell me the details. Now, this is very open-ended, so you need to think about it so that you can get invested in it and find your levels. Now, I'm looking for at least 3 references cited in the presentation and recorded in the reference section at the end. So you can just do a slide or a Word document at the end, show it me. Now, APA format. I know you find that a little tricky, but if you go to this link, there's actually pages that describe it. There's people at the library that describe it. Yes, I will be very picky. I want your last names. I want your last names. I want your dates. If your whatever web page you're using doesn't have a date and a last name, it's not a good reference. Find something else. Okay? It needs to be a good reference, not Wikipedia, not a general site. You need to find something, and I'm not going to get really, really picky in terms of it has to be an original first paper, but it must have a reference. Now, if you notice, some of them will even have an opening that says, or a little click that says, click here to reference. Please make sure you also double check it. I'm looking for, your italics in the right spot, your periods in the right spot, your brackets, and dates. If you're using a reference without a date and without an author, it's a bad reference. So use a better one, okay? Also, I want references in the presentation. If you're using a diagram, put the reference underneath where you got it from and make sure it's an APA format. Very important. Okay, then I want you to read the narrative, draw, sing, do a whiteboard chalk, do a descriptive PowerPoint, anything that you think that you choose. And you must be comfortable explaining the learning. It must be well rehearsed because you will be graded on the auditory. So are you stumbling over words? Can you pronounce words? Can you read it? And it's not just reading. I want you to tell me it. And you get different marks for different things. Now, if you're not really creative, that's fine too. Just do a PowerPoint and read over the PowerPoint. Now, when it comes to videotaping it, because you must be in your own video and you must videotape it. You guys have all sorts of phones and gadgets. Screencast-O-Matic is a good one too if you want a free one. But make sure it is PC compatible, which means I need to be able to open it on my PC. So careful, all you Mac movie people. If I can't open it, I can't mark it. Okay. Now there is a posted a rubric. I'll go through the rubric later. The presentation, last line here, the presentation must be recorded and saved to wherever, Google Drive, uploaded to a YouTube video, some other format, and then just submit the link. Do not give me all the videos or I will run out of room and it won't work. To submit the link, you go to the title, click on Oregon assignment, and right here in the down below where it says write submission, you click there and you submit the link, just the link right here, okay? Just the link. Do not embed, do not give me the whole presentation. There's not the capacity to store it, just the link. And make sure the link has been made public or somehow so I can read it. That's one of the advantages of not submitting it late, is that if I can't read it, I can give you a second chance. And yes, it is due on the 1st of April, but feel free to get it in earlier if you are able, because that last bit is crazy. Okay, the rubric. If you click here, you'll get view rubric, but if you go here, you will actually see the rubric. Let's go through the rubric because I want you to know what your marks will be. Ooh, that's kind of small. I don't know if I can make it bigger. Let's see. Look at that. I made it bigger. There is a visual presentation. Now, these point systems are kind of weird. It's not 1, 2, 3, but it's basically A, B, C, D, and F. Okay? You need to have visuals. And the 3 things I'm looking for, are they interactive? Do you do more than just post them? Are they interesting? And are they organized? And at the level of the class and accurate. I know some of these cartoony things are cute, but this is an anatomy class. I really want you to have accurate diagrams. You can use something cartoony as an extra, but to teach me the anatomy, make sure there's good anatomy. Okay? Then if you lack in those areas, you'll lose marks. To get an A in auditory presentation, I want strong speech. I want correct use of terms, free of major pronunciation and grammatical errors. And yes, I know some of you are a little shy and are not strong speakers, but try your best. I'm the only one, I think, that'll be watching this. Okay. Then organization at a tissue level. Is it engaging? Is it insightful? Is it a description of the tissues and their functions? Don't just name the parts. Okay. And then I describe as you go down the end. Then the next criteria is important at the organ system. Again, is it creative? Is it engaging? Are you clear? Are you connected? Is it easy to flow? Then you're looking at interaction with other organ systems. Clear, insightful, interactive. And is it flawless? And is it at the level of this course? You need to tell me, how do these systems interact? Okay, good. Then 2 marks for referencing. I want it clear, I want it organized, and it must be in APA format. As you have errors, you will lose marks in that. And if you don't have any, you get a 0. Okay? Pay attention to APA format, and also pay attention to the reference if you need help. But this cannot be done last minute, so get organized. One of the trickiest part is to look at the visuals. So I'm going to give you an example of some videos from further years where we look at the visuals. So here is an example of someone, nothing fancy, just a piece of white paper with some lungs on it. And then I've shut the sound off to protect the voice of the person. And then they just point to it. So yes, they're interacting with the videos, but there's very limited detail here. So it's, yes, you have videos, you're interacting with the videos, but there's no detail and it's not at the level of the course. And then they use the same video throughout. They just point to different things. So here's an example of how it doesn't have to be complicated, but in terms of presentation, but it needs to have detail. And also there's no citation here. And you need to get closer in your video. Use a tripod if you can. But this was just done on a phone, which is okay. Please realize that landscape is better because this isn't a TikTok. This is a video. Okay, so that's one example. Okay, here's another example where someone's done the brain, and this is just bits and pieces. You'll see that they've done a nice PowerPoint. There's not a lot of information on it. Again, they've taken it from somewhere and haven't cited it, so that's the problem here. Not a lot of information on it, but as they go through the video, they do talking points on it. It's important you give structure and function. This one was a little weak in the fact that they didn't talk much about the other interactions of the other organs, but it gives you nice visuals. So this could be done, and then this was just sort of a fancy PowerPoint that they recorded over.
Body.
Okay, here's an example
filter,
of
the liver is constantly working with the circulatory system and filtering the blood. The portal vein brings in nutrient-rich blood from the digestive organs and spleen, while the hepatic artery brings in the oxygen-rich blood from the.
Here is another one that's very good with material, but it's hard to read. There's something called the 7x7 rule. So you shouldn't have more than 7 things across or 7 down. She focused on different areas, so she still managed to get the mark. There's no citing under the picture. So see how she pulls in on it and circled it. So here's a way to just do it on your iPad and then use your phone. Oh, this is the video. This was video used. Videorama is what they used here. So I think she may have actually done a spoof on how I circle things too, but I found it interesting. Okay, this is one I cut the person's head off so you can't identify them as well. This is an example of what I call a talking head. All she did was talk through the whole thing. So there was no visuals. Her voice was good though, but there was no visuals. So what's this? 10 minutes of this was not interesting. Okay. Okay, here's another example of where it is, another showing the interest of it. It's recorded the wrong way, so rather tricky to bill or to view. But here you can see how it's not fancy, it's just diagrams with labels, but she talked through it, or sorry, he talked through it. So it's not just diagrams with labels, and you need to do more than just tell me the parts. So here it talks about the different layers, and again, it's just a cork board with different pictures on it as you go through. So again, not technologically fancy. Here's a nice interaction of the hormones that go through, so that she talked about how the uterus relates to hormones. Okay, so this is what I'm wanting you to look at, and then she just changed the pictures. It's so you don't have to have the high-tech whizzy, but you do have to have the information there. Okay. Sad thing, she didn't cite any where these diagrams came from. And then at the end, did she at the end? Hopefully she did at the end. No, she didn't at the end. then what she would have needed at the end was just a Word document, or if you're sticking with a piece of paper, print off a piece of paper. Okay, so that should give. And for the last example, here's just showing you how a reference slide was done at the end. And unfortunately here they didn't do the 3 references, minimum of 3 references. Okay, so hopefully that gives you an idea. Feel free to email me if you have questions, and talk amongst each other so that this way you get an idea to generate ideas. Okay, good.